Hi, Radamiro. I wanted to give you some feedback on your week 3 writing assignment, your thesis statement, and your plan for the essay. First off, don't forget to include your header up here in the right-hand corner, your last name and the page number. So I see here that you've got some summary details from the text, and then down here you have your plan for how you plan to support the thesis. So let's focus on talking about your introductory paragraph first. I think that you have some good plot details in this summary, but I want to give you some suggestions on how to make this stronger. So when you summarize, you want to remain objective in tone. So you want to avoid phrasing or wording that would indicate an evaluation. That comes later in your thesis statement and in the body of your sentence. So when you say the incredible story of Orwell's is the finest story to read, you want to avoid that incredible story and the finest story, language like that, right? Instead, what you want to do is objectively capture the main idea. So I recommend going back to the lecture on summary writing from the week 1 folder and reviewing that, right? Because that gives you hints on how you set up this signal phrase. So really, you can just use really plain language like in George Orwell's short story, A Hanging, the author argues or suggests, and then state the main idea, right? What Orwell's main point seems to be. Then I think where you want to head next is this idea, right? The plot details. So that helps the reader understand how Orwell expresses his main idea. When I got to the end of your introduction here, I didn't see a thesis. What I saw was, I didn't mean to underline everything. What I saw was 2 summary sentences here, right, that are related to, well, your summary. But remember, you want to end your introductory paragraph with your thesis statement. That's where your reader is going to read for the thesis. I feel like you have hints of a thesis in these 2 sentences. They're not quite a thesis yet, but I think that they could be. So the things that I want you to think about is more clearly capturing your claim. So you seem like you're wanting to make a claim about the specific details that the author uses and his use of pathos or emotion, right? So see if you can take those ideas together and put them in a claim. In other words, how does Orwell use details and pathos in order to persuade his audience, right? So maybe take that question and use that question as your thesis statement. So there's 2 things going on in this paragraph. Number 1, I feel like your plot details need to come up here, right? Following your statement, your opening statement, where you capture the main idea. Of course, as I said before, you want to edit out your subjective language, right? Where you're saying find an incredible story. You don't need to include that. Second, move down the ideas related to your thesis to the end of the opening paragraph and really think about capturing that claim. So again, I think the question for you to try to answer to get yourself a thesis is, how does Orwell use specific detail or pathos in order to persuade the reader? So think about how that thesis might sound. Orwell uses pathos in order to X, right? And then you explain what you think the reason is following that. I think you're indicating good moments in the text, and you're listing examples, but without a clear thesis statement, these examples will fall flat, right? Instead, they're going to read like you're just, here's an example, here's an example, here's an example. But the reader's going to ask examples of what, right? So without the claim that says, a descriptive detail helps Orwell achieve his purpose, these ideas will fall flat for the reader. So that's why you need that clear thesis, all right? So those are the things that I want you to work on for this essay. And let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to talk about this with you further. All right, thanks.